come to the streets and they call me out, I go from being a lady to a street racer. I go in beast mode.
She rolled up to the starting line with wild hair, a death stare, and absolutely zero chill. She beat grown men at their own game, earned the title Queen of the Streets, and became one of the most talked about faces on Discovery Channel. But then, things got complicated. There were near-death crashes, a shocking on-set blow-up with one of the show's biggest stars, and a whole lot of questions fans have been asking for years. So today, we're getting into all of it. Buckle up, because the real story of Precious Cooper is wilder than any race she's ever run. Who is Precious Cooper? The origin story. Nobody talks about enough. Before we get into the drama, and oh, there is drama, let's talk about where this woman actually came from. Because if you think Precious Cooper just appeared on your TV screen one day with her catchphrase and her attitude fully formed, think again. This story starts much earlier, and honestly, it's kind of remarkable. Precious Cooper was born on July 20th, 1989 in Osceola, Florida. And no, before anyone asks, yes, that is her real, legal name. She didn't pick it for TV. That's just who she is. She was raised by her parents, Ricky and Sarah Cooper, who ran a family roofing business. That instilled in her the values of hard work and honesty. Not exactly the typical origin story for a street racing legend, right? No racing garage in the backyard. No dad, who was a legendary racer. Just a roofing family in Florida. But here's where it gets interesting. Precious grew up in the world of street racing and was always fascinated by it, though it wasn't until later in her life that she actually got behind the wheel herself. She'd watch, observe, absorb, and when she finally decided she wanted in, she didn't wait for an invitation. Precious met JJ Dabos when she was just 19 years old. JJ was already a famous racer, and Precious asked him to take her under his wing. Now, let's pause on that for a second. She was a teenager. She walked up to one of the most respected, and let's be honest, most intimidating names in Memphis street racing, and said, essentially, teach me. That takes a specific kind of nerve that most people simply don't have. She had one mission: to convince legendary street racing team leader Jonathan JJ Daboss Day to mentor her. JJ, who had recently been released after 8 years and 1 month in prison, had newly signed his crew up for a spin-off of the Street Outlaws show, based out of Memphis. He agreed to mentor the young up-and-coming racer. And here's something that tells you everything about Precious's work ethic. She didn't just show up and expect to be handed a car. She started her career at 19, training for 1 year before taking on real competition. She put in the reps. She earned every single thing that came next. JJ took a liking to Precious and decided to teach her the ropes. Eventually, he asked her to join his Street Outlaws team. She started off racing the puddle jumper, which impressed JJ as Precious easily cruised to victory time and time again. Within a year, she wasn't just on the team, she was one of its most trusted weapons. She has always been one of the group's heavy hitters, often racing the very first race of the night, off the trailer. In street racing terms, that's not just a compliment. That's a statement of full confidence from the crew's leader. But wait, if she was killing it on the streets and clearly had JJ's full trust, why did it take so long for the rest of the world to notice her? And what exactly was her relationship with JJ behind the scenes? Family, loyalty, and the rumors. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, because fans have been whispering about this since day one. What exactly is the deal between Precious Cooper and JJ Daboss? The internet has been spinning stories for years. Some saying they had a secret romance, some saying she was just an employee, some painting all kinds of wild scenarios. So let's cut through the noise and get to what's actually verified. Speculation about a potential romantic relationship between Precious and JJ has swirled among fans. But the truth is, that their connection transcends romance. Their friendship runs deep, with Precious serving as the godmother to JJ and Trisha's 4 children. Together, they form a tight-knit racing family, supporting each other through triumphs and challenges. Godmother to 4 children. Let that sink in. That's not a casual relationship. That's the kind of bond that only comes from years of trust, loyalty, and real friendship. Precious is JJ DeBoss's cousin and also his wife's friend. Her interest in racing was sparked by seeing JJ race when she was a teenager. So the secret romance narrative, not supported by facts. What is supported is something arguably more compelling. A genuine family bond in a world where people live and die by loyalty. And that loyalty runs deep on both sides. When asked what street racing with JJ and family means to her, Precious says simply, "Well, it means everything to me. It's my pride. I love it. Everything about it. And so I work hard towards it." As godmother to JJJ and Trisha Day's 4 children, the Queen of the Streets has been in the family's lives for over a decade. And just to show you how real that loyalty is in practice, when JJ needed her most after a devastating highway accident, no sooner than he was checked out of the hospital, he, his wife Patricia, and Cooper were in the shop and on the phone making things happen to get both vehicles back in fighting shape in time for planned upcoming races. That's not an employee. That's family. Now let's talk about how she finally made it onto your TV screen, because the story of her big break is one of the best parts of this whole story. It was the Godfather Chris "Limpy" Collins himself, the man of DFWSS, Dallas-Fort Worth Street Society, who first made the introduction between the eyes of the world and Memphis, and specifically their queen, Precious Cooper. In the summer of 2016, the Memphis crew was invited to Dallas-Fort Worth for Cash Days, a high-stakes racing event that attracted some of the biggest names in the country. The magnitude of the event drew videographers for some of the major online channels for drag racing coverage, 1320 Video and NX Gonzo, as well as some bigger names in street racing. And Precious? She showed out. Up until Precious took out Barefoot Ronnie Pace in the first round and made a race of it against Murder Nova, Sean Ellington, in a second-round loss. Neither the videographers nor many of the racers recognized Precious or even JJ. That night, everything changed. And when the producers of Street Outlaws came calling, JJ introduced Precious to the world in the 9th season of Street Outlaws, where she became an indispensable member of JJ's team and quickly endeared herself to viewers. So she got her big break. She was lighting up the screen, winning races, and becoming a fan favorite. But here's what the cameras didn't always show: the moments when everything could have gone terribly, tragically wrong. How close did Precious Cooper actually come to losing her life on the streets? The crashes, when the Queen nearly lost everything. Street racing is dangerous. That's not a disclaimer, that's the whole point. The men and women who do this understand that every single time they buckle in, they're making a bet with their lives. Precious Cooper knows this better than most, because she's had to stare that reality head in the face more than once. Let's talk about the crash that shook the entire Street Outlaws community. In early 2021, the star of Memphis's team, Precious Cooper, suffered an ugly-looking accident while racing against Stevie Kroom from South Carolina. Although both teams were quite skeptical about the road's condition before the race, they went ahead without knowing what was ahead. What happened next was terrifying. Only a couple of seconds into the race, Precious lost control of zip tie, and though she skillfully avoided crashing against Kroom, her car ended up flipping on the side road at least 8 times. 8 times. Precious Cooper left the drag strip in an ambulance, but thankfully didn't suffer significant injuries. And what was the first thing out of her mouth when JJ finally managed to pry open the stuck driver's door? "I'm fine. I'm mad about the car." That is the most Precious Cooper thing that has ever happened. But the 2021 crash wasn't even her first brush with disaster. Precious Cooper may live and breathe the street racing life, but it could have all been taken away from her following an accident in Zip Tie in February 2019. Going up against an unnamed rival, Precious suddenly swerved out of control, crossing into her opponent's lane and veering off-road. The back end of the '66 Chevy 2 Nova caught fire, with the flames spreading fast to the front of the vehicle. Witnesses to the accident were able to pull Precious from the crash before the fire reached her, pulled from a burning, flipped car on the side of a road by bystanders. And yet, she came back. Being the great mentor he is, JJ supported her after her accident, telling her, "You done what you supposed to do. You done everything you could. I couldn't have done no better." Now look, there are people who, after surviving something like that once, would walk away and never look back. Precious has done it twice. She got back in the car. She kept racing, and she kept winning. She says, "I just want to race. I love racing. I believe nobody's really more or less important than any other. If they're willing to buckle up, get beside me, and put their life on the line, then hey, it's an honor to race them." That's not bravado for the cameras. That's a woman who has genuinely made her peace with the risks because the passion is real. But if you thought the crashes were dramatic, just wait. Because what happened on the set of Street Outlaws between Precious Cooper and one of the show's all-time biggest names? That's the story people still can't stop talking about. The Big Chief blow-up, the fight that changed everything. All right, this is the part you came for. Let's talk about the altercation that sent shockwaves through the entire Street Outlaws universe. The reported blow-up between Precious Cooper and Justin Big Chief Shearer. Now, for those who aren't fully up to speed, Big Chief was, for a long time, the face of Street Outlaws, the leader of Team 405 out of Oklahoma City, a racer with massive credibility, a huge fan base, and a name that carried real weight in the street racing world. So when rumors started swirling that he and Precious had gotten into it on set, people paid attention. When fans tuned in to new episodes of Street Outlaws to see Big Chief and others duke it out on the concrete, many were surprised to find that the famed racer wasn't on the show. It appears as though Big Chief and Precious, a fellow racer, got into a fight while filming the first episode of the new season. Here's what the reporting says happened. During the filming of Street Outlaws, America's List, Big Chief reportedly had a disagreement with fellow racer Precious Cooper over the show's rules. The altercation escalated, involving his girlfriend Jackie Brash, and contributed to the tension on set. So it started with a rules dispute and escalated to the point where multiple people were involved. It seems as though Precious was unhappy with the rules for the new season, which led to Precious arguing with Big Chief, and then with Jackie as well. Now, and this is important, neither Precious nor Big Chief has ever sat down and given a detailed, on-the-record account of exactly what was said. So what we're working with here is reporting, not a confirmed confession from either party. But here's where it gets interesting, because the context tells a very specific story. Big Chief took to YouTube and addressed the speculation surrounding his departure from the hit program. In the nearly hour-long video, he made it pretty clear to fans what was actually going on with America's favorite racing reality show. It appears as though the real reason why Big Chief is not on Street Outlaws has to do with production company rules. And he specifically took issue with the company's Race Your Way In policy. This policy dictates that the winners of select preseason races would then be tapped to take part in Street Outlaws. However, Big Chief noted that a disproportionate number of Street Outlaws, Memphis racers, had taken part, while others were left by the wayside. And there's the connection. Precious is a Memphis racer. Big Chief felt the Memphis crew was getting preferential treatment under the new format. Precious, who is famously vocal when she feels she or her crew is being disrespected, apparently was not about to sit quietly and let those feelings slide. According to the rumors, The disagreement started between Big Chief and Precious, and Jackie decided to join. It was Big Chief who walked away from the rest of the guys and even walked away from the show that he helped build, especially the competition called America's List, which he mentioned on a few occasions was his brainchild. Although the feud was not the sole reason for his exit, it highlighted the growing discord between Big Chief and the show's direction. One of the most important things Big Chief said in the video he made to tell everybody why he decided to quit was about the fun part of racing. He insisted that his career in the Street Outlaws shows had lost the fun part of racing, so he went back to the streets to try and search for the fun in street racing. So is Precious entirely responsible for Big Chief leaving one of the most popular motorsport shows on cable television? No, that's an oversimplification. The frustrations ran deep and were building for a long time. But was she involved in the final straw that broke it? The reporting certainly suggests she was right in the middle of it. So after all of that, the crashes, the drama, the fight, what happened to Precious Cooper? Did she disappear from the spotlight? Did she walk away from racing? Or did the Queen of the Streets keep her crown? Life after the drama. Here's what people keep getting wrong about Precious Cooper. They see the attitude, the clapbacks, the moments where she gets loud, and assume it's all for show. Like the drama is the point. It's not. The racing has always been the point. After everything, she went right back to doing what she does best. At Street Outlaws, Mega Cash Days, with 64 of the fastest racers and $600,000 on the line, she faced Callie Nate and handled it clean. Quick off the line, built her lead, and never looked back. Even he admitted she simply outran him. No excuses, no controversy, just skill. And she hasn't slowed down since. From JJ's arm drop events to appearances at tracks like Ozark Raceway, she's still out there, still racing, still showing up. The cameras might shift, but Precious at the starting line? That part hasn't changed. What's interesting is how different she is off the track. On TV, she can come across intense, even a little intimidating. But by her own admission, she's naturally reserved, quiet, until she feels disrespected. And when that switch flips, that's when the Queen of the Streets shows up. That balance is the real her. Not the headlines, not the rumors. And when it comes to her personal life, she's kept that completely locked down. No confirmed relationships, no oversharing, nothing. People have speculated, of course, but she's never fed into it. She's made it clear what's public and what isn't. What we do know is she's never been one-dimensional. At one point, she was even studying nursing while racing, which honestly sounds exhausting just thinking about it, but is just another Tuesday for this woman. Through crashes, drama, and years of being underestimated, she's stayed consistent. Still racing, still proving herself, still exactly where she wants to be. So after everything, the near-fatal crashes, the explosive altercations, the years of proving herself in a sport that didn't always want to make room for her, what is the real legacy of Precious Cooper? And what does it say about the world she chose to conquer? The legacy. What Precious Cooper actually means to street racing. Let's zoom out a little bit. Precious walked into a male-dominated world with no big-name backing and forced people to take her seriously. Not by talking, but by winning, over and over again. She's one of the few women who consistently beats top male racers, and she's done it on national TV. That Queen of the Streets title? Earned. Her catchphrase, "off with their head," isn't just for show. It's a warning. And beneath the attitude, there's a pattern. Loyalty, discipline, focus. She's not just loud for the cameras. She's serious about what she does. So what really happened to Precious Cooper from Street Outlaws? Here's the answer, plain and simple. Nothing happened to her. She happened to everyone else. She survived crashes that could have ended everything. She stood firm in a conflict that shook the show. She kept racing when the spotlight shifted, and she's still out there, doing exactly what she loves. She didn't fall off. She just never needed the spotlight to prove anything in the first place. And if you've been sleeping on Precious Cooper, well, off with your head. Outro. If you want more Street Outlaws deep dives, drop a comment below with who you want us to cover next. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll see you in the next one.